Namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste. Where were you last couple of weeks?
The first week my brother had the COVID vaccination, so he
Oh,
was sick.
okay.
That's why. And then the second week
We were like kind of busy.
our mums and dad went outside, so we didn't have the computer.
Okay, no problem. Good. Okay. It looks like just 3 of us today, but let's start. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwarah. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurabhe Namaha. Gurabhe Sarvalokanam Bhijaje Bhavaroginam Nidhaye Sarvavidhyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Gurume Deva Sarvagari Sarvadha Gajananam Bhutaganadi Sepitam Kapittajambhu Balasara Bhakshidam Umasudam Shoka Vinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Pada Pankajam Shuklam Bharadaram Vishtam Jasivaradam Jadarbhujam Prasannabadanam Dhyaye Sarvavignopajantaye Vyasam Ashtanaptaram Shakte Paudramakalmajam Parasharatmajam Vande Shukadatam Taponidhim Vyasaya Vishnurupaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vibrammanidhaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Nadaram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Jaiva Tato Jayamudiraye. So last week we were looking at the story, continuing story, what happened to Pandu, Madri. So Pandu dies and then Madri follows him. After that, Kunti and 5 Pandavas return to Hastinapura. They return to Hastinapura and then perform all the last rites, funeral and everything for Pandu and Madri. And then they return to the palace. Once they return to the palace, at the palace, the children, 5 Pandavas and Dhritarashtra's sons, they were playing and like children's, they are arguing, fighting and doing all this stuff. So in those little children's fights, Bhima was very strong, and looking at his strength, Duryodhana became jealous and he started to think about a cunning ways to kill Bhima. What he does, he gives him poison. In a food, he mixes the poison with food, and then once Bhima faints, he ties him up and then throws him in river Ganga. Bhima reaches Nagaloka serpents, and there his poison was reduced by the snake poison, the counter poison. So once that happens, Bhima starts smashing all the snakes and fights with them. And then finally Vasuki and everyone comes. They recognize him, that is a Kunti's son. They give him Rasakunda, the nectar. And Bhima drinks about 8 pots of that, 8 vessels of that. And he gets 10,000 elephant strength because of that. And after about 8 days, Bhima returns to Hastinapura and he narrates everything that happened to him. He narrates that to Kunti and Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira says they should not fight with Duryodhana and others, and also keep quiet about this incident. Should not tell anybody what happened, how he went to Nagaloka or what happened. Should not tell anybody. And looking at them being naughty, Dhritarashtra appoints Kripacharya to start them lessons. And once they were in lessons, Bhishma was looking for a guru who can teach them all the arms, weapons, and everything else. And Bhishma comes across Dronacharya. So now then we started looking at who is Drona. Drona was born a son of Bharadwaja Rishi, and Bharadwaja Rishi put his energy in a cup kind of thing, vessel called Drona. That's called Drona. So that's why his name became Drona. He was born out of that. And once Drona was born, So he married later in his life. He married Kripacharya's sister, twin sister, married, and then they had a son called Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama, why his name was Ashwatthama? Because when he was born, he screamed like a horse. Okay, so that's why his name was called Ashwatthama. And Ashwatthama was born, and then Drona at that time heard about Parashurama. Parashurama giving all the wealth he has earned by exterminating all the Kshatriyas. He had a lot of wealth, land, and everything. Drona heard about him. So Drona went to Parashurama. At that time, Parashurama already gave everything to Brahmanas, and the land, whatever that he took from Kshatriyas, he gave all that land to Kashyapa. So Parashurama says, apart from my knowledge, I don't have anything else. So all my weapons and things, I don't have anything else. So Drona says, please bless me with those weapons. And then he learns everything, all the weapons, how to release them, how to recover them. So once you release it, if you don't want it, you can call it back, those celestial weapons, those divine weapons. So he learns all those things, and then he goes to his friend Drupada's kingdom. Okay, Drupada who used to come, Drupada is son of king. Drupada was a king of Panchala. So he used to come when he was young. He used to come to Bharadwaja's house, okay, along with his father, and used to play, and they were friends with Drona. Okay, Drupada goes there. So Drona goes to Drupada's assembly, okay, to his kingdom. So when Drona goes there, he goes and says he wants a cow, okay, from Drona. He asks for a cow from Drona, and Drona asks for a cow from Drupada. And Drupada at that time, being king, he was very arrogant. Okay, he insults Drona. He says that you are a Brahmana, I am a king, we are no equal. Okay, if you are asking for something from me because you are saying I am your friend, I am not your friend. So there can never be any friendship between us, because I am king and you are a poor Brahmana. So there can never be the friendship can happen only between two equals. So he insults him like that. So once he insults, Drona says, okay, and then Drona leaves that place and he comes to Hastinapura. He comes to there, he stays in Kripacharya's house, but he does not go anywhere. At that time, what Ashwatthama was doing was, whatever he learned from Dronacharya, he used to teach those things to Kunti's children, Pandavas. Okay, but they did not know who Ashwatthama was or what Ashwatthama's energy is like, what skills or everything. They were just as children, they used to learn from Ashwatthama, whatever Ashwatthama used to teach them. And then one day, all this, the Pandavas and Dhritarashtra's sons, they were playing. Okay, they were playing with a ball, and someone threw the ball far away, and that went and fell in a well. And all the princes, they were looking at the well and trying to figure out how to take that ball out of that well, deep inside the well. And at that time, Drona comes there, and Drona says, what happened? And all of them ask Drona's help for this. And Drona says, you are a shame to the Kuru dynasty. You can't even lift a ball from a well. Okay. And then at that time, Drona asks them to bring some straw, and then Drona chants mantra, and through that mantra, he starts putting straw one after another to the well. And each of the straw go and joins to one another, and then it becomes a rope. And then he puts that rope into the ball, and then he pulls it out. Okay, he pulls the ball out. And looking at all that, Arjuna became very, very much surprised. Okay, he went running, he went back to Bhishma, and then he narrates everything that happened. Okay, he says that there was a Brahmana who came and he chanted some mantra, and through the straw, he made a rope and he pierced that ball and then he pulled that out. So Bhishma realizes who it is. Okay. He realizes that it is none other than Drona. So he invites Drona, and Drona comes to Bhishma. Okay. And then he explains why Bhishma asks him why you are here, why he came to Hastinapura. And at that time, Drona explains that he learned everything, all the weapons, arms, everything from Rishi Agnivesha. And at that time, while he was learning, the Panchala prince, Drupada, was also there. Okay. Both of them became very close friends when they were young. And at that time, Drupada made a promise that you are my best friend. Whatever I have in my life is also, you can have it. Okay. You have a share of it or you own it. Whatever is mine is yours. And having said that, Drona, as I said earlier, once he marries Kripi, they had a son called Ashwatthama, but they were so poor that they didn't have any milk at home. Okay. Ashwatthama used to look at other children who used to drink milk and then come home and ask, they are drinking something white, something. I don't know what it is. I want that. Okay. And some children, for naughty children, they mixed the rice powder and gave him Ashwatthama, saying, here is the milk, taste it. And Ashwatthama said, that's very nice. I like this. Okay. And he thought it is real milk. At that time, Drona thought he has to do something about his poverty. Okay. So just to give it a little bit more background, Drona was observing a vrata. Okay. Vrata is a vow called Kracha. Okay. Kracha vrata is very difficult to observe. Okay. So what it means is the person who is observing that vow, he does not go on begging or anything as Brahmana should do. He doesn't do it. Okay. Instead, those people who were observing that vow, those people, they go to the field where the grains are grown, and after the farmer picks up their grains, anything that's fallen on the ground, they pick that up. Okay. So imagine going to a ground, farmland, and after farmer takes everything away, whatever that's fallen on the ground, if you pick that up and come home and eat and survive on that. Drona used to live like that. Okay, because of that, he was very poor. He didn't have much at home. But looking at his son's situation, he decides to go and ask help from Drupada. And when he goes to Drupada, as I said earlier, Drupada insults him. And Drona at that time decides that the only way he can take revenge against Drupada is by being equal to Drupada and by defeating him in a battle. Okay. So he sets out looking for some students whom he can teach all his weapons, because he did not want to fight Drupada directly, because he is still considered him as his friend. So he did not want to fight his friend, but he said he's going to take revenge through his students. So Drona says, I came here for that. So I need students. That's why I come. And then Bhishma says, you have come to the right place. We are looking for a good teacher for all our princes. So please teach them. And Drona agrees. And Bhishma builds them a good house and everything else for Drona, gives them all the grains and everything that he needs. And Drona, with that, his family were happy. And all the children go to Drona. Pandavas and Dhritarashtra's sons go there. And once somebody goes to Guru's place, first thing they do is touch Guru's feet and seek blessings and request for the knowledge lessons. Okay. So when they do that, Drona says, promise me that when you become fully skilled, you are going to fulfill whatever I ask you to do. Okay. All the princes, they hesitate to say, we will do it, because they don't know what Drona is going to ask. They did not want to commit to something which they can't fulfill. and they were scared as well. But Arjuna is the only one, when he touches Drona's feet, he says, I will do it. Whatever you want, I will do it. Drona becomes very happy. He hugs him and then smells his head. Smells his head means it's like when someone bows down, you go and lift their head and then kiss their head. Okay. So that means kind of a affection to them. So he hears them and then he starts teaching Arjuna everything, all the weapons and everything. But all the other children were also being taught and lessons were taught to them. But Arjuna became his favorite already. Okay. So along with hearing that all the Kuru princes were learning from Drona, many other children came, okay, to learn from him. All the other Yadavas, Andhakas, Vrishnis, everybody came to learn from him. At the same time, Karna also comes, Kunti's first son, who was being raised by the charioteer. Okay, so he also comes, Radha's son. He also comes, Adhiratha and Radha's son. He also comes there, and he also becomes a student of Drona. Okay, so here there are just for your information, there are a lot of misgivings or misinformation. People say that Drona did not teach Karna, okay, because he was of lower order. He was not Kshatriya. He was of Suta caste. Okay, because of that, people these days say that Karna was not taught by Drona. But Mahabharata clearly says that Karna was indeed a student, a pupil of Drona. Okay, he was, but there are things which Karna did not learn, could not learn from Drona. Drona said some things he's not going to teach. We will come to that a little bit later. Okay, but just to clear things, Karna was Drona's student. Okay, and but here Karna joining Drona's along with all the others, he became very much jealous of Arjuna, because Arjuna was very quick in learning everything and Drona was teaching him a lot of things. Karna wanted to also learn and he became very jealous, and Duryodhana supported Karna. Okay, so they started disregarding Pandavas, but Arjuna, he did not have any jealousy. He just pure intention of learning. He was serving Drona, and then because of that, he was learning everything very quickly. Okay, so while things like this, Drona was teaching everybody same thing, but Arjuna was the one who is learning everything from Drona. All the others were struggling in some places, but Arjuna was learning everything. Okay, and he became Drona's favorite student. And while like this, things were happening. So Drona, one day, what Drona used to do was he used to test his students. Okay, he used to give them, all of them, a vessel, okay, a big pot, and ask them to fetch the water from the river. He used to give a very narrow mouthed vessel to all the children, but he used to give a wide mouth pot to Ashwatthama. Okay, so Ashwatthama used to go there, and then he used to get the full water, and then he used to come early. All the other children, because of the narrow mouth, they used to keep it in the river for quite long time for it to fill, and then only they could come. And when they come, the lessons used to start. Okay, so that means Ashwatthama used to get a lot of extra teaching early. Okay, because he used to come early. Arjuna realizes this. What he does is he starts praying to Varuna. Varuna is the god of water. Okay, so he starts praying him, and with that he used to fill the vessel as well very quick. Okay, and then he joined Ashwatthama in these early sessions before everybody comes. Whatever Drona used to teach, he used to do that. And then Drona wanted to test Arjuna further. Okay, so what it does is Drona tells his cook that don't give Arjuna food when there is enough light. Give him food when it is a little bit dark. Okay, so one day Arjuna was eating in dark. He had a small lamp with him, candle type of thing. He was eating, and then wind blew, and then the candle went off. But what Arjuna does is he still continues to eat. He knew where his plate was, where his mouth was. He used to pick and eat. And then while eating, Arjuna realizes that even in darkness, I know how to eat. That means I can do things even in darkness. So when he realizes that, what he does is whatever Drona was teaching him in terms of shooting arrows and things like that, he starts practicing that in darkness as well. He says, if I know where my bow is, where my arrow is, and where my direction is, I can still practice it in darkness. So he starts practicing. One day, Drona hears the noise from the bow, the arrows releasing noise. He goes there and sees Arjuna practicing, and then asks him, how did you learn this? And then Arjuna says, one day when I was eating, I realized that even in darkness, things can be done. So I started practicing. Drona becomes very happy with him, and he says, I will make you the best archer in the world. There will not be anybody equal to you. I will make you the best. Okay. So that's the promise Drona makes. And then while they were learning like that, one day, all the Pandavas and the Kuru princes, they were in the forest. Okay. They were just going for a small break. At that time, Drona, so they were, sorry, before I go there, I think I skipped a slide. So while all this was happening, okay, so Arjuna was very, very good in learning. Okay, he was learning. And then at that time, there is a prince who comes, Nishada prince. Nishada is like somebody who is born of a Shudra woman and Kshatriya father. Okay, so they were called Nishadas, and they were like kind of mainly tribal people. Okay, they live in the forest and they're kind of tribal people. So the prince from there called Ekalavya, who is son of Hiranyadhanus, he comes there to Drona. He says, I also want to learn from you. But Drona says he can't teach him. Okay, he won't take him as a pupil. So, but Ekalavya says, okay, and then he goes away into the forest. He makes a clay figure of Dronacharya, and then he starts practicing on his own. Okay, so one day when he was practicing like that, so one day all these Kuru princes, they were went on went to the forest on a hunting trip. When they went there, a dog also was with them. That dog, looking at Ekalavya, started barking. Immediately, Ekalavya released 7 arrows. Okay, 7 arrows, all the arrows went inside the mouth before the dog even closed its mouth. Okay, so looking at that, the dog came running with those arrows to the Pandavas. Arjuna looked at them, and then he was very surprised. Who is so skilled that they can release 7 arrows in a millisecond, before the dog even can close its mouth? Okay, he goes looking for that person, and he sees Ekalavya, and Ekalavya says that he is Drona's student and he's learning from Drona, and then that surprises Arjuna. Arjuna became a little bit jealous that there is someone even more or equal to him. So he comes to Drona and he explains everything what he saw. Okay, and he says, Arjuna says that you promised me that I will be the best archer, but I think I found somebody else also who says he is your student. And Drona says, show me who it is, and they go to Ekalavya. So they go there, and then Ekalavya, they see Ekalavya, and Ekalavya comes and bows down, and then he says, I am practicing with your statue here, in front of your statue, considering you as my guru, I am practicing my archery. And Drona says, because you said I am your guru, give me the dakshina, Guru Dakshina, fees. Okay. He says, Ekalavya says, what do you want? And then Drona says, give me the right thumb. Because thumb is important for any archer. Thumb is important because that's the one that they hold the string. Without thumb, they can't release it. They can't pull it back. Okay. So Drona says, give me the thumb. So Ekalavya immediately cuts his thumb and gives it to Drona. So here, after that, Ekalavya still started practicing without thumb. He's still practicing with 4 fingers. He started practicing with 4 fingers archery, but he lost his speed. The speed and the skill he had before, he lost it. Okay. And with that, Arjuna became pleased. Arjuna thought, okay, my rival is gone. Okay, he's no more my rival. So just a little bit more here. Again, there is a lot of information on Ekalavya, why Drona took his finger. Okay, why, first of all, why he did not take him as student, and then why Drona took his finger. Just to give a little bit background, this is, some of this information is from outside Mahabharata. So Ekalavya is actually Krishna's cousin. Okay. So Krishna's father Vasudeva had a brother called Devashrava. Okay, sorry. Devashrava. And he had a son called Shatrughna. Okay. And he also had another son called, whom he discarded in the very early age. When he was young itself, he was discarded that son. And that son was raised by this Nishada prince, Nishada king. Okay. And he became known as Ekalavya. Okay. And Krishna, when he built the new kingdom in Dwaraka, which will come later, okay, and you will hear this in more in detail in Bhagavad Purana. So when Krishna moved from Mathura to Dwaraka, when they moved there, that was actually where Ekalavya used to live. Okay. So when Ekalavya came, Ekalavya was friend with others like Krishna's enemies like Jarasandha. Okay. And Ekalavya started attacking Yadavas, Krishna and others. So Krishna killed him. And in Mahabharata, Krishna tells Arjuna that I killed Ekalavya to make your life easier. Okay. So Krishna again, so he helped there, so Arjuna. And coming to why Drona did not accept was because, again, if Ekalavya learns something, this archery and everything, Drona, looking at him itself, he knew that he would become a very good archer. And if he becomes very good archer, he will be better than the Kshatriyas. Okay. The society order is Kshatriyas should be powerful and not others. So if a Nishada becomes powerful than Kshatriya, then it would be wrong. That's why Drona says he's not going to teach him. But then when Ekalavya still went ahead and learned using Drona as his guru, then Drona asks this because his thumb, because of 2 reasons. One is again Arjuna's jealousy, okay, and the promise he made to Arjuna. And also the second thing is Ekalavya stole the knowledge. He did not learn from Drona. He actually was stealing it, right? So that is not good. And the third one is, again, he is not qualified. As I said earlier, he is not a Kshatriya, and him becoming powerful is not right. So these are the reasons why Drona took his thumb. So again, there are 3-4 different ways to look at it. One is purely from Arjuna's jealousy point of view and the promise he made to Arjuna. But also in Mahabharata, Drona clearly says that I can't teach you or I can't let you go like this because there is a morality. Okay. It is not dharma. So if I teach you, it's not dharma. So that's what he mentions. So that's the reason why Ekalavya was not taught by Drona, and also why he took his thumb. So this is just a background information. Again, There are two stories mainly from Mahabharata. One is Karna, why Drona did not teach him. And then the second one is why Ekalavya's thumb was taken. So these two, again, these days, you will hear a lot whenever someone talks about Mahabharata, you will hear a lot about these things because people see them as upper class punishing the lower order. Okay, Karna was considered as a Suta caste, and Drona punishing Ekalavya, who is actually equal to a Shudra. Okay, again, this is when you look at it as a dharma and morality, these are the right things. Karna, again, he was a student, as I said earlier. There are reasons why Drona did not teach him certain things, which we will come to that next time. Okay, but similarly to Ekalavya, it is to maintain the social order that one should follow. Drona did not do that. Okay. Any questions up to now? If you have any questions, you can unmute and ask. If not, we'll move to the next one.
How did Ekalavya steal the knowledge from Drona?
Yeah, so this is again comes down to devotion. Okay, if you have devotion in the Guru, okay, the pure devotion, Divya sleeping. If you have pure devotion in Guru, okay, you can learn that knowledge from the Guru. That's what the Shastra say. The devotion is important, the service to the Guru is important, and that's how we learned it. Okay, again, archery and all is a skill. If someone teaches, it becomes easier, but if you have dedication and devotion to the Guru, it becomes easier. Okay.
Miss, my name is Drupada.
So what would they be classified if it was born of a lower class man and a higher class woman?
We can't marry a higher class woman. For example, a Brahmana woman, girl, a Shudra or Kshatriya or Vaishya cannot marry. You can't. According to Shastras, you should not marry because that's a sin. Okay. These days everything happened, but I'm saying about what the Shastras say. Should not happen. There are certain exceptions. I did talk about, for example, Devayani and Yayati, if you remember the story some time ago, right? Devayani is a Shukracharya's daughter. She's a Brahmana daughter. Yayati was a Kshatriya. And when explaining that story, I did say that Yayati says, I can't marry her because I'm a Kshatriya and she's a Brahmana girl. But Shukracharya says, whatever the sin you are going to get because of that, I will remove those sins with my powers. So Shukracharya, in that specific occasion, gives the blessing and he says he is going to take that sin away from Yayati. That's how they married. Okay, there are some examples, but there are very exceptional cases. But normal rule is one cannot marry a girl of higher order class. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's see what's next. So next, Arjuna. So here again, all the children were still continuing their study with Drona. Duryodhana and Bhima, they become very much strong, skilled in mace, Gada. Okay, Mada. Sorry, not Mada, Gada in mace. And then Ashwatthama, he was good in everything. Okay. And Nakula Sahadeva were very good in sword. Yudhishthira became a very good chariot warrior. Okay. And then he is also with his spear. Okay. Yudhishthira was known for his spear skills. But Arjuna was outstanding. Okay. There are people who get B grade, A grade. Arjuna was A star. Okay. So he used to do everything that everybody can do, and he used to do even better than everybody. Okay, he became the best and best of the people who fight on chariots. He became such a good archer, and in the arms, when Arjuna used to release arrows, he could do. That's a specialty of Arjuna. Okay, even Drona can't do. Drona or Bhishma can't do. He could release arrows from both his hands. He could hold the bow in his right hand and release from left, or he could hold in left and release from right. And he could instantly, he can release hundreds and hundreds of arrows in a second. Okay, he's such a quick arms movement and everything, lightness in his hands. He was such a good one. And he became known as Atirata. Atirata is somebody who can fight about 60,000 enemies in one go. Okay, so one person can fight like that. So with that, so Dhritarashtra's sons, they became very, very jealous, because Bhima was already had 10,000 elephant strength, even though Duryodhana became a very strong, skilled Gada mace warrior. He was still not as strong as Bhima, because Bhima had that Rasakunda nectar drinking power. And Arjuna, he was in very good archer. He became the best in everything. So they became jealous. Okay. So one day, Drona wanted to test these children. What he does is, he puts a artificial bird on a tree, and then asks children one after another, can you put aim on that bird? First he asks Yudhishthira and says, what do you see? Yudhishthira says, I see a bird. And then Drona says, what else you see? I see a bird, I see leaves around it, I see the branches, I see the tree, I see people standing around the tree, I see you, I see me, I see everything. Okay. And then he asks other children, everybody, what do you see? And everybody answers something similar. Okay. And then he finally calls Arjuna and says, what do you see? Arjuna says, I see a bird. I see a head of the bird. Okay. And then Drona says, Arjuna says, I see a bird. Drona says, explain, how does the bird look? Do you see anything else? And Arjuna says, no, I don't see anything else. Then Drona asked him, describe that bird, what you see. Arjuna says, all I can see is its head and its eyes. I can't see anything more. That means Arjuna is so focused, he can't see anything else. Okay, Drona says, shoot it, and then Arjuna shoots. Drona says, that's how when you are in fighting something, your aim should be only one thing, which is your target, and nothing else, you should say. Similarly, one day when Drona was in a Ganga taking bath, an alligator comes and bites his leg. Drona was capable of removing that alligator, but he asked for help from his students. Everybody was thinking what to do. Immediately, Arjuna releases the arrows, 5 arrows in a flash, and then he releases Drona. Okay, and because of that, Drona becomes very pleased, and he gives him the weapon called Brahmastra. Brahmastra is the weapon that can end the world. Okay, it is like in olden days, massive nuclear weapon. Okay, it can end the world. What Drona says that release it only when you have somebody who is worthy of it. Okay, otherwise don't do it. So with that, Arjuna becomes equal to Indra, okay, in his powers with that Brahmastra knowledge. So with that, we will stop today. Okay, and I sent a message. We don't have any sessions for next 3 weeks, but if you want to recap, these sessions are in YouTube. Please recap. Okay, and then we'll see you on 29th of April. I'm going to India, so I can't take classes. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.